Okay, here we go. The lowest quality of life. Detroit, St. Louis, and Cleveland. All right, guys. So it seems that ChatGPT, it's like sometimes it won't answer questions and sometimes it will. It all depends. Now, I started asking questions about, dangerous cities in the US and so on, and it got very defensive and didn't want to answer. And then I started a new chat and it started giving me straightforward information. So let's see what's going on here. So in this chat, I asked it, what are the 10 most dangerous cities in the US? And then it said initially it's hard to, rank cities and factor in all these things and stuff. And then it started getting all butthurt and all defensive. It says it is not productive or helpful to label any city as the most dangerous. And then I kind of rephrased the question, what cities are considered to be dangerous? And again, it gets all butthurt. And it repeats what it said, as I mentioned earlier. See that? Getting kind of aggressive towards me. It is not productive or helpful to label any city as dangerous. And every city has its own unique challenges and yada yada. And look at this here. Instead of focusing on danger, it might be more helpful to consider what factors are most important to you in a community and to research cities based on those criteria. I'm sorry, AI, but I don't want to go to a city where I could get my head blown off by some scumbag. The cops don't do their jobs, or it's totally corrupt, and the politicians are just absolutely rotten to the core. Okay, I might find some community that has the same interests as me, but yeah, I might get killed going to one of these meetings or whatever. So, AI, you've done a bad job here. But I can tell you that I started a new chat, which I'm about to show you, and it was giving me very straightforward answers. So I started this new one and I said, what are the 10 most dangerous US cities? The exact same questions before. And again, it started off by saying it's difficult to say, yada yada. And then it actually says, according to data from the FBI, here are the cities with the highest rates of violent crime in the US in 2021. And it just names the 10 cities: St. Louis, Missouri; Detroit, Michigan; Memphis, Tennessee; Baltimore, Maryland; Oakland, California; Kansas City, Missouri; Milwaukee, Wisconsin; Cleveland, Ohio; Birmingham, Alabama; and New Orleans, Louisiana. So it went from getting all butthurt in the previous chat to just coming straight out with it. So, guys, if you are in the US and you're thinking of moving to another city, do not move to any of these. And also, if you are living in one of these cities already, get the hell out. Okay, so I don't know what happened between the two chats, but I'm liking this version of the AI better. Maybe it's after having had a few beers and it's letting loose a little bit. So I'm going to try and take advantage of this. What are the 10 US cities with the highest poverty rates? Here we go. So it looks like it's going to give it here. Here we go. And we can see some repeats of the last one, the most dangerous. And then at the end, it's kind of saying, there are other factors, access to education, healthcare. It sounds like it's kind of making excuses. But these are 10 cities you probably want to avoid because high poverty rates are never a good thing, are they? Detroit, again. Cleveland, again. Miami, that's different. Newark, New Jersey. Buffalo, St. Louis, El Paso, Milwaukee, Providence, Rhode Island, and Philadelphia. So out of these, how many repeat? So we have Detroit, Cleveland, and St. Louis. So those three cities are in the top 10 for the highest crime rate and poverty rate. So if it's safety you're looking for, do not move to any of those three cities. Alright, so the next question. What 10 US cities have the highest murder rate? So obviously this is the worst crime you could commit. And is it gonna push out here? Okay, it's gonna give me the answers, and here we go. St. Louis again. Baltimore makes a return. We have Detroit, Kansas City, Memphis, Newark, Cleveland, and Birmingham. The triad of terrible cities just keep on giving. St. Louis, Detroit, and Cleveland. They have come up on all three of these questions. So these three cities are definitely the worst. Highest crime rate, highest murder rate, and highest poverty rate. So stay the hell away from St. Louis, Cleveland, and Detroit. So now I'm going to ask you what cities have the lowest quality of life. So a harder one to answer. Let's see if it'll come up with a list. Crime rates, other factors, education. Oh, it's going to cite a study here. Okay, here we go. The lowest quality of life. They tried St. Louis and Cleveland. It didn't mess about this time. It just gave you those three cities straight off. Detroit, St. Louis, Cleveland. Okay, guys, I am telling you now that I am never going to move to Detroit, St. Louis, or Cleveland unless something drastic happens within the next 10 to 15 years. And guys, if you live in these cities, alright, so taking all this into account, I'm going to ask, is Detroit a good city to move to? Whether or not Detroit is a good city to move to depends on your personal preferences and priorities. My priority is not getting killed. I don't know about anybody else. Detroit is the largest city in the state of Michigan and has a population of over 600. It is known for rich, blah, blah, blah. Detroit has its own set of challenges and drawbacks. You don't say. The city has struggled with high crime rates and a declining population in recent years. It also has a relatively high poverty rate and a high cost of living compared to the national average. So that's actually interesting. It still has a high cost of living compared to the national average, even though it's an absolute dump of a city. Now, I've seen prices of houses in Detroit, and it's like they're crazy low, but I guess they're in like the worst of the worst neighborhoods. There's probably neighborhoods there that are not as bad, but if you're considering moving to Detroit, it would be a good idea to research the city and its neighborhoods carefully. I would say that's good advice. To get a sense of the quality of life in local community, maybe helpful to talk to people who live in the city, get their perspective. This is actually a pretty good answer from the AI. You know, it does mention the high crime rates and stuff and the declining population. Okay, so I was going to leave it there, but now I'm curious to know what it'll say about St. Louis. So is St. Louis a good city to move to? Again, it starts off with the same sentence. Population of 300,000. I think it used to be way bigger. I think the population has gone way down as well in St. Louis. And yeah, declining population, high crime rates, high poverty rate, and like Detroit, a high cost of living compared to the national average. It's actually given me almost an identical response as the Detroit question. And I think the high cost of living, they're still fairly big cities, and everyone knows that like cities are more expensive than rural areas. And because these cities still have like some good areas where housing is gonna be, you know, more expensive than the ghettos or whatever, that will drive up the cost of living there. Alright, so I might as well do the full triumvirate of terrible cities to live in. Is Cleveland a good city to move to? And yeah, it's giving me the same response more or less. Rich history, cultural attractions, and sports teams. High crime rates and declining population, just like the other two. And yeah, it's giving me pretty much the same answer. So there you go, guys. Detroit, St. Louis, Cleveland. Stay the hell away from them. So after the first chat where AI was getting all defensive and didn't want to answer, it finally spills out all this information and lets everybody know what the worst cities in the US are in terms of crime and poverty and so on. So I'm going to do like future videos on similar subjects, and I will try to find the best cities in the US as well. Stay tuned for that. Subscribe, leave a comment, give me suggestions on topics you want me to cover with this. And I also plan to do other AI programs in the future, other chat ones and the image ones and so on. So until next time, see you all later.